In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Phase 1 Clone Trooper and Super Battle Droid 2-pack for the Black Series line. Figured this would be a good opportunity to get another Super Battle Droid and also get the most recent mold of the Phase 1 Clone Trooper. I do have the second release of the Phase 1 clone, which I do have reviewed on the channel. It's probably, maybe a 4 or 5 year old mold now. And I want to see how these two compare side by side. And I'm wondering if the Super Battle Droid is different in any way, if it has any weathering or different paint apps or anything like that. So all the accessories here, we'll open that in a moment. Interesting how they packaged the helmet here. I think they've done that before so much. I'm trying to think if the Phase 2 clone and the B1 Battle Droid had that or not. Have to go back and check in my video. Parts don't feel quite as gummy as the normal Phase 2 clone that I have. If you recall, if you have seen the video that I did for the Phase 2 clone and the Battle Droid there, I mentioned that a lot of the parts felt very gummy. It doesn't seem to be the worst on this. Although the elbows could be a little bit better. Helmet looks pretty good. The proportions look good. It's on top of his head all right. And now for the Super Battle Droid. One up in cardboard a little bit. And as far as I can tell, looks like it's pretty much the same exact action figure. It's good. I keep everything consistent. Yeah, it does have the removable parts. Standard accessory for the Super Battle Droid, the blast effect, and then standard accessories for the clone. See how these two line up side by side. I have to be honest, in some ways I'm liking the older mold a little bit more. This one does not have the removable helmet, I don't think. It has the head underneath, but it's the unpainted head that's glued down. But I think the proportions on the older mold are a little bit better, and the plastic feels a little bit more hardy. Nothing particularly wrong with this one. It's just plastic feels a little bit softer. And as far as accuracy, I think this one might look a little bit more accurate. Let me know in the comments what you think. The white is off for both of them. This one, not sure if it's yellowing or if it's just a little bit more of an off-white. The rifles are different shades too. This one's much more black, while this one's more of a gray color. And here's the original mold. But yeah, I'm thinking that second mold here is still probably the slightly better one. It's just my opinion on the subject, though. And for the Super Battle Droids, and not really seeing any difference between the two at all. No difference in weathering or paint apps or anything of that sorts. Same shades. Just about the same in everything. And if you haven't already, would recommend checking out my video I did recently on the single release of the Super Battle Droid here. But yeah, there's really no differences at all that I can detect between these two releases. Now I know the C-3PO and Super Battle Droid 2-pack. It's the C-3PO with the head and Battle Droid body. That Super Battle Droid does have a little bit more of a little bit more weathering on him. Perhaps I'll get that one as like my fourth. I like to try and keep even numbers of everything. And this blast effect does not want to stay too well on the wrist rocket. Feels a little gummy. I suppose that is one potential difference is a lot of the action figures in the 2-packs oftentimes feel a little more gummy. But they still look good side by side. We'll go with Count Dooku here. Need to get a few more of the B1 battle droids. I think that's pretty much all I can tell you about this set, so would I recommend it for your collection? To be honest, at least for the Super Battle Droid, I would recommend just sticking with the single release if you can help it. If you can find the single release for a price that's within your budget, I would recommend that one over the 2-pack here. There's just something about these 2-packs where oftentimes the plastic feels gummy or it feels fragile and it just doesn't feel quite the same as the single release. I imagine that's the same thing for the Clone Trooper here as well. Maybe Hasbro mass produces these more, and because of the manufacturing, they just use cheaper plastic. I'm not sure, but that's just my impression on the subject. But if you really want to expand your Super Battle Droid collection or Clone Trooper collection more, and perhaps the single releases are not so convenient for you to get, then yes, I would say this is recommended for what it is. But if you can't help it, I would track down the single releases instead. But despite all that, I'm glad I got this set. It's nice to get an extra Super Battle Droid, and can always use an extra Clone Trooper for my Black Series collection here. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There'll always be more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate all your support, and check out some links in the description if you haven't done so already. Of course, as always, thanks for watching.